A simulation inside a simulation. A simulation inside a simulation, and a brother simulation inside that. Imagine this. We're living in a simulation, right? But what if this simulation isn't unique? What if there's another simulation, a brother simulation, running parallel to ours within the same parent reality? Now, let's take it a step further. What if our simulation and the brother's simulation aren't just parallel, but part of a nested system? Picture this. Our reality is one layer of a simulation, nested inside a larger one, and the brother's simulation, that's another distinct reality, running alongside ours within the same overarching framework. Both simulations exist within the same parent construct, yet they operate as entirely separate worlds, each with its own rules, inhabitants, and storylines. It gets even wilder when you think about how these simulations might interact, or if they even can. Perhaps they're designed never to overlap, or maybe subtle ripples from one simulation influence the other in ways we don't understand. For example, imagine if an event in the brother simulation indirectly shapes outcomes in ours. A massive catastrophe in their world could create inexplicable shifts in ours, manifesting as glitches, strange coincidences, or even changes in our perception of reality. But here's where things really spiral. What if the parent simulation itself is part of yet another simulation? This structure would create a cascade of nested realities, each layer a simulation within a simulation, endlessly receding into deeper layers of existence. And if that's the case, how could we ever determine where we stand in the hierarchy? Are we in the original simulation, the second, the 100th? Or is the concept of an original simulation meaningless in a system designed to be infinitely recursive? The idea of brother simulations also raises questions about their purpose. Why would a parent construct create multiple distinct simulations within itself? Could it be some form of experiment, testing different variables, outcomes, or environments? Perhaps the brother simulation serves as a control group, a version of reality where variables are slightly altered to study how small changes ripple across time and space. Or maybe the simulations exist for entirely separate reasons, with no intended interaction or comparison at all. If that's the case, then it's possible that we and the inhabitants of the brother simulation are completely unaware of each other. To us, they're just an abstract concept, a theoretical parallel existence. But to them, we're the same, a hypothetical other that may or may not exist. And yet both realities are contained within the same larger system, bound together by their shared origin in the parent simulation. What if, however, the boundaries between these simulations are not entirely impermeable? Imagine if glitches or anomalies allowed for brief interactions, moments where the edges of our simulation blur, letting us catch a glimpse of the brother simulation. Perhaps these moments manifest as déjà vu, inexplicable phenomena, or even the eerie sense that we're not alone in our reality. Could stories of ghosts, parallel universes, or alternate dimensions actually be the result of fleeting connections between simulations? And then there's the ultimate question. Who, or what, is running the parent simulation? Is there a conscious creator orchestrating all of this, or is the parent simulation itself an emergent system, self-generating and self-sustaining? If there is a creator, are they aware of the nested layers, or are they as in the dark about the deeper levels as we are? The concept of nested simulations also challenges our understanding of free will. If our reality is scripted within a simulation, and that simulation is scripted within another, how much control do we actually have? Are our choices truly our own, or are they predetermined by the parameters of the codo? And if the same is true for the parent simulation, and the one above that, where does autonomy begin and end? Another layer of complexity comes from the possibility that simulations aren't just nested, but recursive. In this scenario, a simulation could spawn its own simulations, which in turn create others. Over time, this recursive loop could lead to an infinite chain of realities, each one generating new layers beneath it. And if this process continues indefinitely, then there might be no top or original simulation at all, just an infinite regress of created realities. In such a system, the idea of an ultimate truth becomes elusive. Each simulation would perceive itself as the real one, unaware of the layers above or below. To us, our world feels tangible, concrete, and self-contained, but to someone in a simulation we might create, their world would feel just as real. And the same would be true for the beings in the simulations created by our simulations. So where does that leave us? Are we just one piece of a larger, infinite cycle? Or is this all part of something even stranger? a reality so complex that it defies comprehension. Perhaps the key lies not in trying to escape the simulation, but in understanding its purpose, whether it's an experiment, a game, or something beyond human understanding. The very act of questioning our reality suggests a spark of awareness that transcends the code. And maybe, just maybe, that spark is the point. Proof that, even in a simulated world, something genuine can emerge.